Hey, happy Monday. Told myself I'd make a video every Monday, but I don't have the energy today to say some kind of deep commentary about Final Fantasy VII. And also, I'm sick of that game and I hate it. And I hope nobody ever mentions it again in the future history of the planet Earth. So instead, I'm gonna check out this Breath of Fire 3 hard patch. Fan-made hard mode that someone made. I've been waiting for a hard patch for BoF 3 for many years. I always thought it would be a cool game. Has some kind of interesting mechanics and things. I think you could make cool character builds and stuff, which would really come through if the game was a little bit harder than it is, which was pretty much you can steamroll it without looking at the screen. So this is the optional intro. It's like the demo mode intro where you just leave it at the start screen and you get to see the story of these two guys. Kind of similar to Final Fantasy VI. Some guys talking about how some mystic lost thing has been discovered in a mine and they don't quite believe it, but unlike 6, these guys aren't some kind of soldiers going in to seize it. They're just some chumps who are doing their jobs, and we'll see what happens when they come face to face with this rumored creature. Gary and Mogu, which are actually, those are names of Breath of Fire characters from the past. Mogu was a guy in 1, and Gary, I think, was the Japanese name of the wolf guy in Breath of Fire 2, something like that. I'm not brushed up on my BoF lore. That's like really cool looking, the giant green dragon skull. I mean, that's a perfect example of how like low poly 3D art can really impress and make a spectacle. It's like the camera zooming over to that thing and unveiling itself in the mine. If you're not a little bit impressed by that, then I don't know what's up with you, but that's really cool looking. So doesn't have to be 6 billion polygons. It can just be 6. It's still cool. I love this ancient mural showing the Breath of Fire 1 characters fighting Miria. That's the great thing about Breath of Fire, is the sense of history and the continuing legend that it has across all of the games. It's a real advantage to having it all set in the same timeline, but separated by like hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Some really cool stuff. You get a real sense of just mythology and all that. Of course, BoF 3, one of the most beautiful video games ever made. Even just the aesthetic of the menus and the character portraits looks really cool. It's so crisp. It's beautiful. I love it. When I was younger, when I was a little kid, I used to name characters after myself and stuff, but I don't want to be Ryu. I just want to see Ryu's story. So, okay, continuing the intro. I guess it starts out, pretty much where it needs to. I remember you not really seeing this if you didn't do the demo mode stuff, but I guess the optional intro just gives you a little bit more, little exposure to these guys before you see their untimely fate. So they think it's like a fossil or whatever. They're not actually trying to murder a baby dragon. I guess Breath of Fire takes place in a remorselessly capitalist world, because if there was any kind of government or cultural interest, they would send in like an archaeology team to check out this ancient creature. But I guess they just want the crystals, so they blow it up. They have no interest in the paleontological implications of this amazing find. So in that sense, it's good that they get blown up. But wait, what's that? Why do I have all these moves? That's really weird. Guess I should expect to see some different stuff happening since it's a hard mod, but let's check it out first with a standard attack. Wow. Oh, he automatically counters with well breath. It's pretty sick how they just turn into fried corpses immediately. Melted blade. Yeah, I bet he's not moving. Damn. It's so interesting that the beginning of this game is cool for a number of reasons. You know, starting with the perspective of some other people, and they find this thing. You don't even necessarily know that this is the protagonist, but it's kind of a surprise to find that you're suddenly playing as the monster in the mine. It's a cool little twist, and you're just like immensely powerful and fry these guys in one hit. Everybody's scared of you. But at the same time, you're not the villain, because you're just an innocent little creature, and they're trying to blow you up. So, hey, dude, I said I wasn't a dragon, man. Fucking relax, bro. All right. Some good comedy. Pretty subtle. Pretty good. Oh, these guys, they want some. I guess that guy had to run away, even if you told him you're not a dragon, because, had to alert the other miners. I guess it's kind of interesting what they've chosen to do with this mod, because your regular attacks that you can use don't really hurt them that much. Not really sure what that's trying to communicate. Maybe it's a kind of like pacifism, like Ryu's a good guy because he's not gonna kill them unless he gets hurt first. What's up? Yeah, I guess that is kind of what the game is trying to say, is that Ryu is not an evil murderer. I guess it would have been cool if you started the game off and, you know, you were seeing this guy murder all these people, and then it kind of let you know that Ryu may be a good person and everything, but he maybe can't control what he does as a dragon, and he's just ripping through these dudes. But I guess in one sense they had it coming, but it's kind of holding back on showing the kind of feral power of the dragons. You know, now that I'm really thinking about it, this intro might be making kind of a really deep point about the dragons and the brood, as they're called, because as it turns out in the story, the goddess Miria thinks that they're all out of control, and she had to stop them because they were just too powerful and they were going to blow up the world or whatever. But and we've seen in other cases when the kind of feral power of the dragons is not under control by, you know, their human counterparts, they can really tear some shit up and do huge destruction. But this intro is showing us that Ryu is still in enough control not to just start murdering everybody unless he's threatened first. It's like making a subtle point that Miria was actually wrong, and the dragons are actually pretty benevolent, and they're fully capable of controlling themselves. I don't know if it's really trying to illustrate that kind of lore stuff through this opening gameplay segment, but I just feel like the fact that you can't attack these guys and your main damage comes only from counterattacks is trying to say something deliberate about Ryu and his dragon form. He may not really know who he is or whatever, but you know, he's not a mindless monster who's just ripping dudes in half or anything like that. So, kind of some interesting inferences that you can make from this. Maybe that's a little bit too deep Breath of Fire lore I'm making there, but it's really not trying to get into PlayStation 1 philosophy today. This game's Game's too good, I can't help it. Guess I will continue to be a pacifist and not directly attack Oxman. Hey, cool, I put him to sleep. Always really loved the music samples used in Breath of Fire. Capcom PlayStation kind of instruments that they'd use. Of course, sampled from all sorts of classic 80s and 90s keyboards, but has a really distinctive sound, and you can always tell that always identify a Capcom bass guitar or something. It's good stuff. See, I should be able to attack the operator, right? Because he's the real danger here. So I remember he smashes that little crane into my face. See, I haven't played this game for about 10 years, so I'm not really up to speed on all of the plot and everything, but I really don't know who speaks into Ryu's head right there and tells him not to murder Oxman. I also don't know why Oxman is important, or more important than the Wolfman from earlier, but it's not as if he hasn't already murdered some people who have been attacking him, so I'm not really sure. I guess the way that it shows that dragon, standard filmmaking would indicate that the ghost of the dragon skull was the one speaking to him, but I really don't remember. Just a really cool opening. Without really saying much, it introduces a lot of interesting questions and intriguing little prospects to the story, like who's this dragon, how'd he end up there, who's the mysterious voice in his head. You would think that he would be able to wake up and just breathe fire all over, melt the bars of the cage, and kill the train driver, but I guess they weren't that smart. Here we have Chrono Trigger, Secret of the Forest, Part 2. Ray, another awesome character, one of the best. Game has a great cast. I really love the artwork. It's a little more comic than is usually my preference, but it's just such an attractive style that I find myself really enjoying the character designs of Breath of Fire 3 and 5. That artist is great. I love those voice clips, dude. Ray's battle pose and his sprite and his cool voice clips. I guess it's kind of cool because when you find a abandoned child in the woods, most people would take them home, but I guess stuff is so bad in terms of food and money that Ray's first instinct is to just leave him with his face in the dirt. But Ray is a nice guy, and he's got to pick him up. This song takes me back to so many RPG Maker 2000 games. Remember hearing this in a lot of stuff. Kind of weird that Ryu has no clothes after transforming back from a dragon, but he has a hair tie. Like, he has a very specific hairstyle that's been done. I guess the dragon transformation. No, actually, of course, later when you get the transformations, you have your clothes when you turn back from a dragon. So I guess Ryu was born and someone put the thing in his hair, but he had no clothes on. Then he turned into a dragon and then got trapped in a crystal. Not sure how that happened, but it's a little bit weird. Pretty bad luck for Ray to accidentally be living with two dragon people, like maybe the only two left on the planet. Not really sure what he did. That's a real coincidence. I guess the Force made him do it. So someone's abandoning all these. I guess maybe you could say that Tipo was maybe found in the same mine that Ryo was. Like, I don't really know. I'm sure there's like a 600-page Japanese book that explains everything. So I guess Tipo is talking to Ryu from the future or something. That's the exact mentality that made Miria kind of upset with the dragons, I guess. It's fucking killer sprites, dude. Miria is one of the coolest. Her last boss sprite is just like, it's just a colossus in terms of killer last boss screen filling sprites. One of the greats for sure. That's really cute. Just the big oversized shirt thing. It's awesome that they made a sprite for that. I guess I'm not sure if I have a memory card in EPSXE. I don't die in video games anyway, so no need to save. I think the kind of combination of really cool sprites and the subject matter of like ancient dragon mythologies and stuff with the jazz soundtrack, that kind of combo in Breath of Fire really created a unique identity. I guess Breath of Fire 1 was more orchestral, but you still had the jazz kind of stuff in the town songs. The Breath of Fire 1 world map themes I really like. As well as the second half world map theme of this game is one of my favorites. Has a real cool mood to it. A real shame about this game and most Breath of Fires is that there's some really cool story stuff, really cool tone, but it all kicks in anywhere between like halfway to 75% through, and you have to deal with a lot of kind of bad scenario filler up until then. This game has a really cool intro, but most of the stuff with Kid Ryu is not that interesting compared to how it becomes later on when he grows up. There's just such interesting stuff in the Breath of Fire worlds, these like ancient civilizations and techno cities and things like that. It's just, they have all of that stuff there waiting to be explored. They have such rich conceptual ground to work with, and they kind of shove it all off in the corner for no real reason. I guess there is some value to doing that. Like, I guess the perfect example would be Xenogears, where you spend some time in the kind of boring world, and that builds up how cool all of the stuff behind the curtain is. But Breath of Fire just takes that to an extreme, where you spend just way too long without any hint of all that cool stuff that they're keeping away. I mean, they did the work to develop really interesting concepts and places and things, and they've really earned the right to have that be their game, like to have their game benefit from all of that cool conceptual work that they did. And they just don't want to benefit from it, so kind of a sad thing. You could do like a really low stakes, low concept opening like this, but if you just moved it into the cool stuff faster, these games would really be a lot cooler. But hey, I guess the series is dead now, so not really any chance to make that happen. But hey, maybe with the big comeback of Capcom, someone at the company will be like, you know what, Breath of Fire, we're bringing it back, baby. But then again, maybe not. Always love the field map abilities in BoF, some cool ones. I like the map traversal ones and stuff that lets you find secret items. Karn unlocking the doors from even before you recruit him gives you a cool reason to go back and check all sorts of interesting corners that you saw before and had to walk past. As bad as the scenario writing in the first half of this game is, it really coast by a lot on style, just the cool sprites, the bright, attractive colors, and the cool battle themes and stuff. Really carries the game up until it finally decides to become, or, you know, it lets itself become interesting. Wait, I have some misgivings about that dialogue. They're trying to portray peasants who are being exploited by an aristocracy as lazy, and they just want free handouts. Little bit of a weird thing there. And he's wearing an evil bad guy cloak. Really not sure what that's trying to say. If everybody knows they're thieves, I guess they haven't been doing a very good job, you know, taking stuff. Hell yeah, herbs. Lots of food around. You just gotta, you know, stealing from regular people is bad. Stealing from the bourgeoisie is good. Stealing from the aristocracy and corporations is good, so, don't really like taking stuff out of these houses. It's interesting that Miria's theme is just stuck in this happy little town theme. Da 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 da. They changed it on the second. I fucked it up, but it's okay, whatever. I do not want to stay at your disgusting hovel. I've got my own fortress in the woods. Breath of Fire, always pretty good about putting vitamins in the cabinets. You can always check out some cabinets if you need some vitamin D. Here's that battle theme. It's a fun battle song. I like it. Gets you pumped. So, I guess in this world, is monster meat like not edible for humans? Because if there's all these crazy psycho birds around who are just gonna attack you, then you could probably, you know, roast one of them up. What is actually happening in this forest? That there's no food, like there's no fish. There's very few apples. Usually a forest has some kind of food that you could eat. I don't know if there's like an evil curse on this forest that's depriving it of life, but maybe eat some boss goblins. Maybe not. I'm too tired, like I don't know what to, there's really nothing. Fuck, dude. Happy Monday, everyone.